LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Hey, Janet, you were getting ready to say something, and I started the countdown. What's
going
on?
said I thought someone was supposed to join us tonight.
Yeah, I just remembered that, so I put in the chat, Flady, if you want in here, let me know.
So
yeah, there he is.
There he is.
There
so
he
ready.
is. Invite the man, Bruce. Yes. All right. So we watched a movie last night. Welcome to A Girl, a Guy in a Movie. This is episode 61. This is the version where we watch a Andy Warhol fronted movie for the United States called Blood for Dracula. We're waiting on our friend Flady to get in here. He's got to connect his camera. As soon as he does that, I'll get him in. I'm just waiting on the internet to say he's ready to go. Okay. And that's fine. This is usually like whenever a delay is going on behind the scenes, that's usually what's going on.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was very many people that have actually seen this movie that are going to be in the chat.
It will be very interesting. I'll say that much. I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion because this movie, I was not expecting much from this film. Not gonna lie. What I got was entertaining. Very, very entertaining. And here he is.
I thought the music was really good. I don't know for sure who did all the music in it, but the music was I thought fit the movie pretty well. Even the corny parts.
There were a lot of those.
Yeah, but I thought it was really good. I mean, I was expecting it to be different and unique, just simply because it had the name Andy Warhol on it. But I didn't know what to really expect. But the actors were good. So I thought they did great.
Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Flady, I'm sorry I didn't get the link to you till just now. We had a fun time watching this last night, and I've got a couple things I do want to say about it. This movie garnered a small cult following, and there's some really important people behind the scenes that makes me think this movie's bigger than what I'm willing to talk about it. Like it really is. For its time, it was kind of like an it movie to go see or be part of, if you understand what I'm saying.
What year did it come out? I couldn't
74.
Remember. Okay, because I was telling everybody it came out in 80 or 81 because I couldn't remember. So, because wasn't Andy Warhol pretty popular still in the 1980?
I believe he was.
Yeah, I think so. His posters and his famous pictures like with Madonna and not Madonna but Marilyn Monroe and some other stuff where like everybody was wearing them on t-shirts and had posters to hang on your walls and stuff like that.
This is a US released. Okay, this is a US release poster. Andy Warhol's Dracula. I thought that right there, and it has Joe Dallesandro, then Udo Kier, and Udo's Dracula, that he gets second billing. So this movie makes me think that it was a phenomenon to go check out.
Mm-hmm.
Go away. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that.
I mean, I don't know how many movies he put his name on as a producer or whatever.
I'm really not certain.
Because he seemed to later in his life like to just go out, sit in nice the places and schmooze with people and then hand his name out for products and things like that, because he really didn't do that much that I can remember when I was old enough to really notice that stuff. I don't remember him doing it. It was already things that he had done in his past, that he talked about, or art that I saw, or paintings or photography or anything was already, way past before I was even interested in that kind of stuff. So
He did
movie
experimental
definitely
films.
was different.
Like the 60s, there was the Chelsea Girls and a couple other films he was involved with. But he was really into that in the 60s. What happened to him in the 70s to where he's like, I got to back this movie for Joe Dallesandro. I want to make another couple mortgage payments. I don't know what was going on there, because Joe apparently might have been bi, but he definitely had wives. And I don't know what he was doing with Andy Warhol. I know Andy kind of propped him up, and they passed Joe Dallesandro around to the bodybuilding magazines of the time. Miser, we talked about that last night. He had a bohemian and counterculture group around him that he was consistently franking. He was frankly just going around with them, just passing out influence.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie
he just
Herco.
liked what he looked like.
Yeah.
It's always, you always see all these rich people with beautiful women on their yachts. I mean, they hire women to lay in their yachts in nice bikinis and things like that. So they want to be seen with attractive people. Even when they go to clubs, they rent an area, their VIP area, and they have very attractive model types hanging around with them. I mean, that's just something they used to do.
And this movie was made in 73, or they were seeing the set design in 73, the location. And that was when he made the famous portrait of the Chinese communist leader, Mao Zedong. He did that in 73. So that kind of ties into the hammer and sickle in the bathroom, if you remember right.
Yeah, on the wall above the bed. Yeah, I saw that. Really, I mean, to me, it was like a neon sign. But they did talk about how they were about to go to war again and stuff. And that was in Italy, so they would be right in the middle of everything, for the storyline.
Is it supposed to be set in the 30s?
I don't know, but it seemed like it was, in the late 20s or early 30s, because it seemed like stuff was winding down, that a lot of people didn't have a lot of money. The inns had people in them, but they weren't bustling, things like that, from the little bit that we got to see. And the fact that the guy that owned the mansion and had all the daughters was struggling, so. And they hadn't already married off their daughters, so maybe other people were struggling,
Yeah, it's Italy. I hate to say this about the land where I'm supposed to be from, but Italy is about as prosperous now as I am. So I got to say that, like, Italy could probably straighten itself up and do better, because I should probably straighten myself up and do better, And I'm not saying I'm poverty stricken, but I'm looking at Italy, and they've made bad decisions, and now they get to live through those, and hopefully from here they make better decisions. And they've done this since the 1700s, when the city states kind of got their act together a little bit, and they didn't really have that independent mindset between all little provinces and provincial states, and they don't know how to be a superpower now. It's completely out of their generations. They used to be back when the history books were chiseled, and the people, that's all it is. It's just a title, it's a name, it's oh, you're a noble of Italy, that's awesome. How much money do you have, and what can we go buy and do stuff with? Well, I don't have a lot. I've got 4 daughters that are really hot, but.
Well, I thought the mother, the actress that played the mother, and the gentleman that played the kind of the assistant to Dracula, what would you nickname him as?
Arno Juerging is.
He was like the Renfeld, or whatever type character. But those two, to me, were the best actors. For when it came to actors. And then Dracula, he did pretty good. The scenes where he was like having his convulsions and stuff, I had a hard time, because he was very over dramatic, overacting big time. But that's what I expected, though, from Andy Warhol type movie. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
besides that, I thought the rest of them did really good. A couple of the sisters did a really good job. And I think all the sisters really did a good job, and the mother, even the dad for the character that he played. So to me, the only ones I had a problem with was Dracula and the handyman. But the handyman always had a smile on his face. At least he should have. With the,
I mean, the guy should have been paid in beer.
he had a maid. I mean, the guy was lucky as I could see. I mean, he had good looking babes all around him. He didn't hardly have to do any work, and and the mother and dad never seemed to be around whenever the daughters were running around the house naked. So it's just, I just thought all that was just really funny. But honestly, if you were to go to a party in the 20s somewhere, I'm pretty sure if there were aristocrats that you'd probably see a lot of TNA running around and people having a good time. You know what I mean? So in the Roaring 20s, I mean, that's what everybody talks about that era so much. But even at a party with Andy Warhol, I'd heard they're pretty, drugs and alcohol and sex, openly, gay sex and straight sex going on all over the place. So I don't know if it's true. I never went to anything like that. I wasn't old enough, but I don't think I would have went. But a lot of people, talked about it. It was in all the magazines and, the gossip columns. So. But Flavy, you said you saw this when you were young with your baby?
I was 12 to 14 the first time I saw it. And I think I was out of the Navy maybe a year. I had a small little hangout drinking crew. And we watched it one night with, a couple of the girls we were hooking up with. And to be honest, the more I think about it, we really didn't pay much attention. It was more just background noise with a few moments of, oh, what is that? Oh, that's crazy looking.
Yeah.
When you were like 12 years old, is that about the same time you got to see this for the first time?
12 to 14-ish, somewhere in there.
Because I can absolutely empathize with you. Like when I'd be a young boy, if I would have seen this as a young child, this would have affected me. I mean, it kind of affected me last night, but I mean, it was really a movie that I was impressed with because of the lack of budget, the amount of story they were able to get through to it, the fact they were able to cast 3 out of 4 girls that look like Janet and her sisters. And I thought at first there was 5 daughters in this movie.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, 5 daughters? That's weird.
And then I'm looking at the mother, and the mom looks like Janet, but 30 years from now. And I'm like, mom's kind of hot. I mean, I'm not trying to I don't want to make Janet feel uncomfortable, but I'm thinking, Janet, your family resemblance.
Well, the thing is, they did a good job to make it realistic in the fact of the way the mom and the father dressed and acted around their home for someone that grew up with wealth and lived in wealth. It wasn't until the problems of the war and the upcoming, problems that were about to happen, that they were hurting, because their economy was really bad and everything. And, having beautiful daughters and everything, the thing is that to me, they looked older. Even the 14-year-old daughter looked older than 14, but you knew they had to be in a movie to show TNA. So they had to be older than that, but they were beautiful. And I really felt sorry for Dracula after, the second time around that he was thinking he was going to get something good and he didn't. So I thought it was funny. I laughed. I mean, maybe it was inappropriate, but I thought it was very entertaining. It was not the script wasn't bad. I mean, it was a good script. It's just the way that the director chose to portray the script. You see, everything is down to the director's view of what he wants to come across on the screen for everyone else to see. And it had that pop of flair that you would see in in the Art Deco world, you know what I mean? So, and in the pop era, the young up and coming people that are going to be one day be stars, or artists, painters, singers, or whatever, were the ones that were going to be going to see this film. And I don't know if it was in a festival or not, but it sure seemed like an independent film that would be put in a festival. You know what I mean? Like the Sundance Festival, thing like that. This is the type of film that would just have all the people, oh, it was so good. I loved it. It was great. You would definitely see that with this film.
I could see this movie being targeted around Austin during South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite festivals, I might add. And once things balance out in the economy to where I'm not living like everybody else, where we're all going hand to mouth, once things balance out, I do plan on going back up to Austin and checking out their music and their movie festivals, because those can be fun. I know that there's some people like, oh my God, Austin sucks. Austin sucks terribly. But there's a lot of fun to have up there for certain things. Like, you're going to bump into people that, if inside baseball, like, you're going to bump into, of all things, I bumped into the scriptwriter for the movie The Hoosiers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a lot of fun. And then not too long after that, like 2 days later, I'm shuttling, of all people, Gordon Ramsay from the airport into downtown Austin. And let me tell you, that man is a very sweet and adorable person. And I'm not trying to say no homo there, but he swears like he's the first human being to cuss at an artistic level since Richard Pryor has been on the planet. That guy is amazing.
So getting to meet people like that when you're not in the professional area, but get to see them on their personal level, it's totally different. And sometimes it's shocking for people, because they go, wow, they were like a normal person, because they are. I mean, they are to a degree, because you might be at a bookstore and bump into Ted Danson, and you look at him and you go, oh my God, that's Ted Danson, but he's just shopping for a book.
I do not want to see either of the two captains of the Enterprise. The only two captains, in my opinion, of the Enterprise, that'd be Shatner or Picard. I can't think of the guy's name, but I don't ever want to see them outside of a movie studio. I never want to deal with either of those men on a personal level. That'd be great for somebody else. Let me have my fantasy to where they boss around thousands.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Blood for Dracula being tarted up and having people whisper in my ear, this is like the movie to see. This is a film you want to go. And like, if you have a special someone in your life and she's got a couple degrees in her belt, if you want to show her that you're cultured, this is an Andy Warhol film. And this is a really good Andy Warhol film, because the music and the scenery are perfect, and you've got some really nice vistas, and it's all about family.
The costumes too. I love the outfits that everybody was wearing, the cars. There was only I think 3 cars that I remember seeing in it, but it was just, I loved it. It was almost like stepping on the, inside the movie, The Great Gatsby. I just absolutely love that movie, and my mom loved it. But the clothing and the style that people have about them, it's back when people cared, really about going out in public and what they're looking like. You know what I mean? I just thought it was, even the people that weren't rich were, they had 3 layers of coats, shirts and whatever else on. They were very, I don't know, everybody seemed to care about their appearance. They probably didn't smell really good, but they looked good from across the street. You know what I mean? So I just thought I like that. That's one of the things I liked. I love the music that was in this movie, and I loved the clothing, the scenery. The mansion was just beautiful, even though it had a little bit of a rundown appearance, because they wanted you to understand the class that the people were under, basically, with the tight economy and everything, and not having all the money they wanted. And they were out there working in the gardens, and but the fun thing, I like the one scene where the mother is sitting with the one sister, the oldest daughter, and they're watching the two younger daughters out hoeing in the field, and the two older daughters the youngest one was out there working in the yard too. So it was three daughters out there, and the two older ones take off their shirts and they're flashing, each other and goofing around out in the garden. And the mom sees them and she's like, put your shirts on or whatever, your dresses back on. But I just thought that was kind of a cute portrayal of showing two girls that were trying to, break away from being just everyday chores and the life of living under the thumb of your parents, and one day being able to go out and be women, and be able to be independent and all that. So it had a little aspect of the beginning of women's lib, type thing in there, and the girls wanted to break out on their own type of thing. I thought that was kind of cute for the director to want to show that, even though a lot of the young men that would see it totally sexual. But to me, I saw it as two young girls just excited about becoming women and can't wait to be able to one day leave and have their own lives. At least that's how I portrayed. I saw how how it came across to me when I watched it.
Flady, what do you have anything you want to couple onto that?
For me, I mean, obviously, due to the age I was when I saw it, I was more interested in other things. But it's really interesting to see how it's held up and not held up over the years. I remember when, I thought it was like a really slow burn last night when we were watching it. And I remember thinking that slow burn was kind of eerie and creepy, because you gotta understand, I saw this before I saw The Godfather. So just hearing that old Italian music and the accents just gave me like a sense of foreboding that, kind of never really panned out, at least in the way I remember it from my childhood. So that was a bit of a disappointment. The funny parts were still, for me, just over the top. I loved them. I understand they were meant to be dramatic, over the top, and ridiculous, but I do like that in small doses. Like, I hate to say it, I was never a big Dumb and Dumber fan or Wayne's World, but almost anything John Candy did, I would roll on the floor for hours, or Transylvania 5000. You know what I mean? So I did, and that kind of blew me away last night, was realizing all the stuff that I can see now as an adult. I missed all of the commie propaganda as a kid. I had no inkling any of that was in there. It just right over. And then seeing it last night and how entrenched it is, and it's integral to the story. It was definitely eye-opening. Like, man, when you're a child, and then you see things in a way. And it is kind of disheartening when, sometimes you shop back in time and go review a piece of art that you used to, you had this memory of, and you view it through, the eyes of an adult versus the eyes of a child. And you watch that veil drop. Like, I remember the first time I went back and saw episode 1, season 1 of the Transformers. And I was like, well, the graphics are still great. That dialogue, though, not enough as I remember. And then, catching like an old G.I. Joe and going, there's a dad joke every 12.7 minutes. That shattering of the veil, that cynicism you get as an adult, that, things, they seem different, which is why I really like movies like Explorers. And that, again, sorry for bailing on these last week. But to me, that one,
you're fine, man,
shows that it's like a true solid piece of work all the way through, is that over time, it's hardly ever changed in my mind, no matter how many times I watch it. I mean, yes, as an adult, I can see a little bit of things that I missed as a child, but it still gives you all those emotions, all that nostalgia, and it just, it's a better product. But this, for me, it's like Bruce was saying, it probably had a following. the person who showed it to us, like I said, she'd show us anything just to shut us up. But she was, an early 80s feminist, college educated. She introduced us to that, The Cure, all that. I was still listening to the Fat Boys. I mean, so I could see why, because she was like, well, this might be a little bit, but you should watch it. You'll learn a lot. It'll culture you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're sitting there watching. Yeah, it's culturing us.
Well, the thing is, the girls were beautiful, and the whole thing about the only thing that one thing that bothered me through the movie about the script was I couldn't understand what was wrong with Dracula, that he had to go to Italy to find someone that's a virgin to drink their blood. I didn't understand what the illness was, because, when we're growing up, every kid thought that Dracula could drink anybody's blood, a man, a woman, it didn't matter. And the whole concept of him having to have a virgin's blood and having a hard time finding a virgin, that was funny. And that reminded us of that other movie. What was it? Love at First Bite or something. What was the other movie?
Oh, Once Bitten.
Oh, Once Bitten with Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely can see the similarities now. But the other movie was really good too. The George Hamilton movie. My mom loved George Hamilton, and that was a funny movie. The other one was, Love at First Bite or whatever. But the idea that he had to have a virgin to save him because he was dying or something, I don't know. I never did understand it, and I don't know if it's because I missed about 6-7 minutes of the movie, the very beginning. Did I miss what happened? So I was trying to figure that out. But if they had just put a little more information in there about what was wrong with him and why this had happened to him, then it would have made a little more sense about why he went there. Because I did feel sorry for him when he bit the second daughter, and was having such a hard time because she wasn't a virgin either. So he finds a religious family with 4 daughters and he can't even find one virgin. I just felt sorry for him, but but that's what you're supposed to have, some kind of pity for him, I think. And I even felt sorry for him when he fell down in the stairwell, and the young worker went up there and was standing there watching him, and he forced himself up and went back up the stairs, even though you could tell he was in agony because, he was just suffering really bad. So he did do a good job at making me sympathy for him. The script, the way that everything was being told in the story. It's just that I wish I'd understood a little more about what the reason was behind him having to go travel so far away, because where he lived, there just apparently wasn't any virgins. And I guess there's a rule that he can't go after, little kids or something. So there's a rule. So I don't know. That concept of that part of the story was really hard for me, but that was the problem that I had with it.
They didn't really cover it, but it was a family thing. So like, I think you signed on either right as or right after. They basically, his whole family has the same problem. So the movie opens up with them sealing his sister in a coffin. So at least in my mind, trying to put logic to an illogical storyline is, whatever form of vampirism I have, that's just the storyline of they have to have virgins, maybe stealing from the Lady Bathory story or whatever. So you figure a small countryside, not a lot of, because he didn't have really any superpowers either. It was not played. So imagine a small little family in the countryside. Well, that's all you can sustain yourself off of. You clear out the area pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so like that's how the movie starts, is they're sealing his sister in, and she's just gonna starve to death in her sarcophagus. But I think mainly that was a plot device to go with the communist stuff that I missed of the women's liberation movement. I mean, it's always been a joke.
What I did, plus when I came in, that was right when they were about to put the girl in the casket, and I was thinking could have been his wife, and that she was dying or whatever. But if it was his sister and they were sealing her up, and when were they planning on coming back with a virgin or something for her to feed on too?
The way I understood it was, at least if I remember correctly, was that they just basically said, there's just not enough virgins left. It to me, I saw it as a metaphor, something that needs to be abolished. The whole, virginity is value and all this. They were trying to smash that, from a cultural standpoint.
Yeah. Well, see, I looked at it, but I saw it a little bit different, because to me, it seemed like the theme with the Dracula's family was that basically our culture has ruined the landscape basically, because now everybody's partying and having fun, and there's no morals or anything. Nobody's, going to church or being a good Christian family or whatever. The way that the Dracula was talking, and that's why there aren't any virgins, okay? Because women are out making their own decisions. They're not waiting till marriage anymore. They're just out, whatever. And then the young girls, the two older daughters, when they were romping around with the handyman, they just talked about how it's, this is the new world where we can be and do whatever we want. But they ended up, being killed basically, or almost dying, because of their wildness and being, playful and flirtatious or whatever. And because of their attitude or the way they look at life, they're going to suffer for it, because Dracula, bit them, but he couldn't use them because they were useless to him because they weren't virgins. So basically, it was like a mixed metaphor story between good and evil, about what was good and what was bad, and which side of the fence you were on about whether or not you should stay a virgin or whatever, and that type of thing. That's how it came across to me. But but I'm a girl, so and this is my first time.
No, I saw that.
So to me, that was very intriguing, and that's what I'm saying. It was had a good story, and it had good characters that interacted with each other and stuff. But the youngest girl, the one that he ended up deflowering, so that she wouldn't get bitten, that one, she really didn't have much of a part. She had less of a interaction with anyone in the movie besides her two sisters. Those two sisters. But besides that, she really didn't have much of a character arc or anything besides getting deflowered or whatever.
That was basically all she was there for, was to be like the last chance. This is your break glass moment.
Yeah. And he ruined it. It left him having to lay on the ground and drink the blood off the floor. So terrible, and embarrassing for him when he looked up and he saw the older sister. But the older sister looked at him as her chance of finally getting married to somebody that would be with her forever, and she could have the money, all the things that she wanted, and be able to read all the books that she wanted, and have the perfect lifestyle for herself, when she saw him and realized he was Dracula. So I thought that was kind of funny, in the way that they went about them meeting each other, type thing. So I thought that was comical, to a degree.
There's so many comedic moments in this film. Like, I really want to recommend this movie to my friend 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, so his man panel can tear it apart on the toxicity basis. I would love to hear that. But I mean, yes, I sit on that panel, but I think this movie has so many dark humor moments in it. And basically, like, we don't have enough food in the cattle so where I can keep my bride of Dracula alive. So she's going to go into torpor for a bit. She's going to go fade off in a casket for a while and not do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick around here because I think there's some young ladies in this next mansion. And I think that'd be worth my while to sink my teeth into. And damn it, if they all aren't a bunch of Iowa corn-fed whores that are like, wrestling.
They were jumping anything that moved.
They're the wrestling cheerleaders that go out. They don't have the social status to date the basketball players or football guys. But they're dating the guys that wrestle. And so you know how like in high school they have cheerleaders for various things. We had wrestlerettes that they would do cheers during the wrestling shows. And our wrestlerettes were kind of like the tier 3 or tier 4. Like tier 1 is like your creme de la creme, the girls that look great, they look great out of bed. The tier 2s, they have to have makeup on, but they're still mostly like you want to be with them on a Thursday through a Sunday. And then there's the tier 3 and 4, which like they're acne faced, they're pudgy, they're fat, and like they're in art classes and they're pale, or they might be gothy, but they're probably they achieve goth. They never want to be goth, and that the wrestlerettes are always the girls that seem to follow my crew around because I was a high school wrestler, and these ladies here, you know, like they were as horny as these wrestlerettes were because they just stare at dudes all the time that, you know, they got their package right there in the wrestling singlet, and then we're hunting around, wrestling around with men, and the chicks are there with their palms throughout the 2 or 3 hours. And those are the loosest girls in school. God bless them.
The scene, what was really funny to me was Renfield, or the guy that was playing the Renfield type character. He seemed like he was really smart. Okay, he seemed really smart from the very beginning about where they could go and get a wife, you know, a woman that could be a virgin or whatever type of thing, and use that ruse that he's trying to find a wife, blah blah blah. And then he goes into that little pub, right? And he's sitting at the table, which I thought was really interesting. The whole layout of the little pub, because if you notice, the tables had like fruits and vegetables like laying on the table. Yeah. Which I thought it was almost like paintings. If you thought about it, when you sit back and you just looked at it and you turned it off and you just looked at the paused movie, it had you know, the gentleman sitting at the table with their steins and their goblets and stuff, and then all the fruit and stuff laying on the table, and the peas and the onions and stuff like you have in a lot of those beautiful paintings with flowers, and then they have a fruit basket and stuff on there. That's what I saw. I looked around and I kept seeing paintings, you know, in the whole pub. And then you had the older woman with the beautiful young girl sitting next to her, and the fruit. She's got a bag full of carrots, you know, or a bowl full of carrots, and she's snapping peas or something at the table. And then he sits down, and that's when he sees the gentleman at the table, and they start talking to him. So he goes over there to buy them one, and you find out later that was Roman Polanski, right? And a cameo sitting there, and he's uncredited, you know, in the movie, but they played that game on him, and it was hilarious to watch. I couldn't help it. That was a really, really good scene and very entertaining to see him be so gullible to sit and have that happen to him for someone we thought up to that point was smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought he was a genius, like tier genius level guy. You know, I thought he had been the one pulling all the strings on things, and then here he is getting bamboozled by Roman Polanski.
I just thought that was a good scene.
I didn't see a young girl on Roman Polanski at all in this movie. I almost wanted to give it a thumbs down just for that aspect alone, but Roman is he's not even mentioned in the credits. Basically, you have to go find him on the IMDb. And
that was him. And but this I thought was really good. What did you remember that scene, Flatey, when you from when you were younger?
You mean when they trying to think which guy you're talking about?
When they're in the pub and the handyman or the helper to Dracula got bamboozled by them basically with the money.
I had no idea who that was at the time.
But I mean, did you think he would get duped by these guys, or did you think he'd be too smart?
No, because he would have, you know, educated smarts. These would be street smarts. Plus, they would know local customs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I figured he was going over there and they were going to sucker him. I thought in the beginning when I was a kid, I thought they were just going to mug him. They were just going to beat his ass, take his cash. Because, when he pulled his money out, which is why he did it, everyone turns around and like, money. Especially, with the way the economy was, for back then.
Yeah.
The one question, Bruce, what year did this movie come out?
1974.
And
2 years later, this the special effects guy, Carlo Rambaldi, he did a movie called King Kong with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange.
Okay, because I just looked up the Monty Python was 75.
Yeah, I know, and we haven't even gotten to what I feel is the best part of the movie yet.
Oh,
but that's fine.
We'll skip that then.
that like this movie does so well on the practical effects. I can't, and practical effects and the camera tricks I thought were fantastic in this movie. Especially
and another thing I didn't understand that kind of got me going, what's going on? Because when they drive up in their fancy car and they get out and all the girls are standing there waiting on them, and then you had the handyman standing there and they're greeting him, and the mother's talking about how she's going to cook all his meals for him and being very personable and stuff to greet him, to kind of show they're classy and that they have suitable daughters, for him to pick as one of them as his bride. And he's standing there talking to him because he grabs her hand and he kisses her hand and everything. And then they walk past him, the girls. And then later he's in a wheelchair. Where'd the wheelchair come from?
Yeah, I didn't see the wheelchair till after that scene had started. I'm like, I didn't see this.
Yeah, so there was a few little things like that threw it off for me, because I'm like, just out of nowhere, he's got a coffin for one thing, and that was kind of awkward, which made it kind of funny because everybody was like, when he put it in the chapel later on and they go in there and the music starts playing, da 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 da, the organ and stuff, I just cracked up laughing. I try not to make it ruin the movie for other people, but I can't help it sometimes.
Janet,
but
there's a reason why we watch movies with you.
It was really good. I did laugh a lot in it, and I just thought it was a very entertaining movie. I mean, it had good music, beautiful scenery, beautiful girls in it. The story was really good, but it was kind of a little bit overly dramatic, some of the actors. But I don't know. I think they wanted them to be that way because it seemed like pop, like the pop culture type thing was big in the 1970s, when that's why Andy Warhol just became a huge success in the late 60s and early 70s. He was just huge because of the way he looked at things, and the way he did his art was just over the top, and that's what this movie was like. It was like certain sections of it was over the top, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. It became a cult classic because it was dramatic and way over the top, and I just loved it. I thought this movie I was surprised how much I really liked it.
I'm almost wanting to institute a drink rule whenever Janet brings up Rocky Horror Picture Show or vampires, because these are
I love vampires though.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a friend named Max who his thing is he loves this game called Earth Dawn, and the rule is whenever Max is on his channel and you hear Earth Dawn, you drink. I think whenever we mention the Rocky Horror Picture Show, that would be a cue for you guys to take a swig. Toast, my friend.
Well, I am Janet.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's why I recommended the movie was, the amount of comments you made about vampires. And
I love vampires.
That's why I put that punchline in there, which is, I don't know if it's just modern day memes that people have made, or if they actually had like some underground posters at the time. But for me, the most famous line is, "The blood of these whores is killing me," and he's got that look on his face, and the blood's coming out right before he falls over.
It was so funny. But see, the thing is, if you think about it, did they want us to laugh at some of these parts, or do you think that I don't know. See, I would love to get to actually talk to the people that were involved in making this to find out what they were trying to get. I would love to see a documentary or something on the making of the movie, or whether it was in festivals and what the people watching it in the festival said, back from in the 1970s when it was first put out, because then you can kind of get what they were looking to do, or what they wanted to see, or wanted to show the audience. And I worry sometimes that if I don't act a certain way, that I'm going to hurt someone's feelings, or, the people involved. Like when you go to a festival, usually there's a lot of people, producers, maybe the directors, some of the actors and stuff attend these festivals, and they want to see the reactions of the people when they watch their films. And sometimes they get a reaction that they're not wanting. So I try to be, a perfect lady when you go to those festivals and watch things, because you don't know for sure exactly what what they're looking for. But
Janet,
knowing
the movie The Room.
Uh-uh.
You've never seen Tommy Wiseau's The Room?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
All right. We'll have to do a double feature here in the future. There's two movies that are going to be required viewing probably in the fall. We'll watch The Room, and then we'll watch The Disaster Artist, which is a movie about the making of The Room, which that should probably give you a clue as to how this movie is. But there was a guy from another country, from an Eastern European country, that he came here with oodles of money. We don't know how he made the money. And he was trying to pass himself off as a 30-something. He's clearly 50-something. And The Room is a movie where he tried showing it off at, I think it's South by Southwest or somewhere. He says, "This movie is my life," and pretty much got laughed out of the theater. It's a horrible film. There's so many dissertations and people on YouTube that are getting their clicks and their likes about cinematography and script writing, and they just do 10 video essays on The Room, and they get monetized. It's crazy. So there was a movie that came out a couple years ago with James Franco, one of my favorite actors, and Seth Rogen is in it too, but I'm not really too big on him. Anyway, they call it The Disaster Artist, and James Franco does an amazing impersonation of this guy, and they show you how The Room was made and what was going on behind the scenes, if you didn't already know. And it's a very, very easy to digest, very fun movie. But you don't know about this movie, so I'm just kind of priming the charge.
Well, I like James Franco. One of my favorite movies of all time he was in, The Great Raid.
Just for you guys to understand, Janet has done some behind-the-scenes work on my YouTube, and she occasionally will take the video out for a walk, and that's what I call it whenever somebody grabs a video link from an old video, and they're like, "Hey, check this out." And she does that, and I've gotten like 12,000 views this month because a couple Fridays ago, Janet took that video out for a walk. She loves that movie.
That was one of the ones I recommended.
Yeah,
and it was almost the 4th of July, and I'm very patriotic, so I wanted to push. This is the only time our government rescued our soldiers, made a mission to rescue them, even though it wouldn't help the war, help us win the war. So.
That's fine. I'd rather get our guys back.
Me too, but I'm glad that they did it. They did it, and it was successful. So that's why I just love it. I think it's a wonderful movie. I still tell everybody to watch it, even though, that it's not their type of movie. I can't help it. I just really enjoy that movie.
I saw the movie in theaters. I love the film. My dad and I. That's one of my favorite memories from 2005, I think, because my dad and I went to go see it in Springfield, and we didn't know that it was going to get stormy later on that day. And we're driving home at 75, 80 mile per hour, going down the speed limit zones because the highway cuts through a bunch of small towns. But as soon as we are on the edge of the town, almost ready to go back up to speed, the storm has already caught back up with us, and an F3 or F4 decimated the farmland around our little community we lived in. And the next like 3 or 4 days, we had no power. We're out with, crews and people that have heavy equipment experience or driving tractors or skid steers, or they're just helping in some way rebuild. I think Paul Walker had a charity at the time, and he threw some money at Logan County. He threw more money at Washington later on in 2012, but he had a real big charity at the time that he was throwing money at us, trying to help us get power back established in a little group of farm communities. Anyway, that was an exciting night. I'll just say that. We saw a good movie, then we got chased by a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Chimerian is really blowing up the chat with the
history lessons.
Two of the reasons why I love having that guy available for 3 hours on a Saturday. Sorry.
That was a good night, though.
Yeah, we're doing it again this coming Saturday too. This movie has a lot of things going for it. We've kind of covered that, and we've gone into detail as to what happens in the film. I don't understand why Dracula feels so powerless. I mean, Italy isn't decimated. Italy is recovering. It's in state of recovery from like 1900 to like 1955, 60. It's still not great, but you don't have the level of stupid aggression of the Italian men killing themselves off against each other in vendettas like you did from the 1910s through the 1950s. You still have very passionate men that get upset about things, but they're not killing each other as badly as they used to. Italy has now got a new foe, and that is the immigrant that comes from the south, and that's focused their ire. Instead of being angry at brother versus brother, they're really not wanting to have the people from over there come over here and try to become citizens, and that's what the majority of the UN is doing right now and has done for the last 10 or 15 years. There's a Hajj, as they call it, going on in the Muslim world, where they bring in a bunch of guys and they're on a pilgrimage to follow through with their duties as part of being good Muslims. You're supposed to go out and procreate and find a place to be in the world. And these guys ruined Qatar, they've ruined Tanzania, they've ruined all these other crappy places. Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan are war torn. So we're just going to go find places to be. And right across the sea is basically Italy, Greece, and other places that they're trying to be at. And the Italians had no part of it. They call it an infestation. The Italians had a lot of daughters that did not die, and the women tend to live long in Italy. If you let an Italian live, just my own family in general, like not many of them die before the age of 75, unless it's like drug related. Okay, but if you're not having a problem with drugs, 75, 80. My grandfather, 2 packs a day of Lucky Strikes, had 4th stage of cancer pop up when he was 88 years old, and he lived until 6 months after they took him out of his home environment, where his wife was still cooking for him daily. She couldn't remember the recipes for anything, but the food she was making was staving off whatever it was in his body trying to kill him. And when he had the institutionalized food and all their medicines, that was when he went, and he died at 88.
It might be olive oil.
Yeah.
But my grandmother on my dad's side was 101 when she passed, and she lived in her own house and rented a room out and was sweeping and stuff that morning before she passed. So I'm hoping that I can still be home and take care of myself all up until that day I die or whatever. But I'm a little over 5% Italian, so in my DNA. So I have some Italian in me. So maybe I got that small little section of whatever the part that hopefully it's the part that lives the longest. That'd be great.
I'm just saying that we have who knows how far that Renfield took Dracula in this movie, but you're going through the Italian countryside, you're going to see a lot of shopkeepers that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to see their young daughter standing by the cafe side, waiting for somebody to just come and order food so she can do something.
Mm-hmm.
There's dozens of towns like this along every miserable flagstone road. That's how that is over there. And you have that, and he didn't find a single one to like feed his sister with. Are you kidding me? That's the only part of this movie that I'm like, I don't really believe that.
Well, I believe that if he just went into like an orphanage or whatever, he could have got as many kids as he wanted, and they would all be virgins, and then they could have a feast or whatever. But the thing is, for whatever reason, he wanted to not make a stink, just like that when they were first there, and he was talking about wanting to go out in the night, and Renfield was telling, no, you can't go anywhere, you got to stay in here, I'm working on something. He had something up his sleeve about helping him. So he ended up getting shot in the head over it because that mom shot him even though he stabbed her. So the thing is that the whole thing, the interviews that Dracula did with the two daughters, and she's sitting on the bed and he's asking her, if you've ever been with a man, and she's like, no, it was just comical to me, the conversations that they had with each other before he jumped on them and decided to drain them of blood, and he's drinking their blood, and then he because I knew it was a low budget movie, but when he lifts up off of her and his mouth's all dripping with blood, there's no blood anywhere on her neck or on her white outfit that she's wearing. No. And that's one reason why I picked this thing, because to me it looked a lot like the night dresses that two of the sisters wore. So I had something, and then I had a scarf, so I put my fake my body.
I'm fairly certain that our crew that came in tonight, if they had seen this movie, they'd be going like, is Janet going to be doing the outfit from the farm, from the field scene? No, she's not disrobing. She's not showing the boobs. Sorry.
No. I'm not OnlyFans. I don't do that stuff.
There's plenty. You just do a Bing
There's
search.
plenty of that out there for you. Just watch the movie and you'll see boobies.
I love how they cast this movie. The women in this movie look amazingly alike.
Mm-hmm.
Which
they did a very good job finding young girls that looked similar enough to be sisters, I think. Mm-hmm.
The young man, the handyman that was paid with beer and blue pills, like I swear that guy, he had the best gig in the entire film. Like, just pretend you're making love to her. I hope there was a happy ending when the cameras turned off and everybody goes back to their trailers. Really,
yeah,
like,
I'm sure there was. Plenty. You got to remember, you see this, that, and the other, but there's other people around, lighting people that are doing cables. I mean, there's cables everywhere. There's a boom hanging up there, someone holding a microphone, all that. So it's just, there's a lot of people in there. You don't realize, unless you watch a documentary showing behind the scenes of how movies are made, you just don't realize it when you're watching it, how many people are in there and how relaxed these people have to be to seem like they're really, all by themselves going to town or being romantic or whatever, because you got to be a good actor to be able to do that, because I don't think I could do it. You got modesty on and you're rubbing each other and you're groping and you're doing all this stuff, kissing and making out, and you're supposed to be, whatever, but there's a whole room of people watching you. So like, it's kind of hard.
Off camera that are like right there trying to tell you, make it look authentic, grab her boob, suck on it, stare in her eyes,
Yeah, or hey, get the sweat bottle and they'll come over and mist you a little bit, stuff like that. It's just, or they use like body oils. Like I put a bunch of body oil on the other day when we did the Darkness Rising, when I made the little, video for that. And I just lubed myself up real good so I'd have that sweaty look like I worked in a tavern a long, long time ago in the Renaissance times. And you know, that's what they do. You know, they'll use different kinds of things on people to make them look wet or sweaty or grungy or dirty, you know, whatever they need, a dirt under their nails or their teeth dirty. It's just amazing, you know, the things that they can use on people to make them look a certain way for a scene. And there's people everywhere. So it's very rare that you get like you might get a special set where they might have very limited amount of people in there because they want privacy for the actor or something like that. And only certain people are allowed in. So, but most of the time, you know, you got to be, if you're going to be naked, you're going to be nude in front of everybody because there's pretty much everyone going to be going in and out all the time. So I don't know how they do it. I mean, some of these people, how they're able to.
That's a talent that I have not mastered. If I look at myself too long, I get out of the mirror, you know. But I'm just saying, like, I couldn't imagine doing that with like a bunch of other people. And I've been on a set before, holding a light while we're filming an adult scene, and I've done that. I've done like a 15-hour total shoot to wrap a 2-hour quote unquote encounter, and I've got to say, like, I was exhausted after that just because I was filling up with lights and I was having to help the boom operator. And then I got disgusted because, like, I'll explain it to you guys later, but Janet's here and there's some other ladies in chat, and I just want to be respectful for a bit. Just for a bit. I mean, I had an awkward moment yesterday and my wife had to take me off the ledge, and she's like, "It's okay. Like, women think of sex too, Bruce, and you're watching movies with Janet and there's boobs out, you know. Janet's probably thinking like 7 steps ahead of you. She is the woman. She has 42 tabs open, and that's just how it works." And I hadn't quite thought of that, you know. I'm like, oh my God, there's a nude scene here. My co-host is with me, and oh God, you know, and I felt really embarrassed. It was great.
I wasn't embarrassed at all until she stood up and I was like in the bathtub, that one scene. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, this has got full frontal nudity.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you know, it didn't make me go, oh, I got to leave. You know, I'm so embarrassed. I mean, that's why I don't want to do porns. You know, I'm not going to do a porn, but this was an R-rated movie, and it wasn't raunchy. You know what I mean? It wasn't dirty. It was very classy the way that they handle all of it. I thought so. To me, I wasn't embarrassed at all. I mean, I've seen a lot of those movies when I was a kid. It was so funny because all of the boys that I knew loved watching these nature shows so they could see all those native women with no tops on. And some of them were naked, and they'd go on. I saw boobies yesterday, and they were jumping all around and whatever. So, I mean, it's natural. If you see it in a natural way and they're not really doing anything, you know, they're just walking around or whatever, it's not dirty. I mean, I don't see it as perverted or anything. And even though they were having a lovemaking scene earlier in another scene, you didn't see anything. You just saw a butt, you know, and some legs and a little bit of flash of boob. You know, to me, it wasn't obscene or you know, really bad. You knew what was happening, you know, definitely. But there was the bathtub scene when she was soaping herself up and everything, and the camera backed up a little bit, and all of a sudden you saw this huge bush, you know, like, wow, you know, it was a little bit shocking, but it wasn't.
Not me.
It wasn't distasteful. I didn't feel like it was. I mean,
I'm just going to say it was the 70s. And they're Italian women. Like, they've learned how to trim since then. They're not the French. Okay.
It's called landscaping. But yeah, you would see nowadays you'd see like a landing strip or whatever, little designs that people, because you can get all kinds of stuff done now, body waxing, whatever. But yeah, she was definitely looked like she was in the 20s. You know what I'm saying? It looked natural for that era. So to me, it wasn't bad at all. I thought it was tastefully done.
I didn't even think about the fact that they were trying to portray women in the 1920s. I just thought it was the 1970s, and like this is a standard. Like when you go to bed with somebody, if you take somebody home from a discotheque, you know, you're gonna have to take your hedge trimmers if you're gonna get some action there, Bobby.
Well, see, that's why I told that joke after that scene, because I was trying to like make you not feel like I was, oh my God, I was freaking out or something, because I wasn't.
Thank
So
you.
I was trying to lighten the scene a little when I told my joke. So I hope I didn't bother you too much.
For any friends that are out there that wish to have a show where you have a panel, just one other person to co-host, the amount of respect that you see with the give and take here between me and her, if you can get something like that, I think you'll do really great for yourself. The audience will come, and don't worry about it if it's awkward at first. I mean, you're on camera; it's always going to be awkward, but I really like. I wish the people knew how gracious I am to Janet for like just her being one of the best co-hosts, spokespeople, discussion artists I've ever met.
Well, I feel the same way about you. I really do. You've made me feel so comfortable. You've just been wonderful, and I'm thankful to your wife for seeing me one day, thinking I was funny, and wanting you to meet me. You know, talk to me online, or maybe have you on as a guest on your show, whatever. Because if she hadn't done that, you know, I never would have met you. I mean, I've seen you in the chats and things like that, but I never would have ever, you know, thought about doing anything like this. And I've loved this. It's just a blast. I enjoyed it. I look forward to it every week. And I've gotten to see so many movies I've never seen. I probably never would have seen if we hadn't been for all of you guys in the chat and getting to hang out with Bruce. I mean, I just love it. I'm so thankful for it because it gives me something to do each week that I love. So, and I love talking and I love watching movies. So I'm getting the best of it, all of it. At least that's how I look at it.
Flady, when you first saw this movie and you didn't know who Carlo Rambaldi was because you're not really certain, you know, you're not following special effects artists. We're not at that stage yet, you know. When you're seeing this film and it starts going into the part where the handyman is chasing, Joe Dallesandro is chasing around Dracula around the grounds. And by the way, it looked like it was just daylight, like 5 minutes before that. He was using his cape to block the sun, and he pulls a curtain shut, and then he doesn't quite get everything he wants, and the handyman starts to chase him. Were you thinking that you were going to get the ending that you got with this movie?
Oh, absolutely not. Like, I was definitely, I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, well, you know, he's finally got, you know, some blood going. We're going to see some powers. He's going to draw this guy out, corner him, rip him apart. And then the arm on the railing, I literally just started cursing. I was like, are you kidding? I mean,
I laughed. Like, that was a great scene, though. It really was. I've never seen anything like that before.
Because I think, like I said, I was definitely like early teens. So I'm pretty sure, I don't remember what year Lost Boys came out. I'm pretty sure I saw that first. I know I saw this after I saw Summer School, because when the girl stood up in the bathtub, it reminded me of the two guys working at the photomat and how they didn't show anyone, but they were describing like a naked woman that, you know, in a photo they developed.
Uh-huh.
And, so I know I had seen that had come out because I had seen that beforehand. But when it was over, I was like, what did we just watch? Like, you know, I'm used to vampires, you know, powers, intimidating. And this guy was entertaining, but weak and Weasley. And it turns out he plays almost the exact same part again in Blade, because he goes out like a complete whelp. You know, he's supposed to be, you know, I was born a vampire, thousands of years old, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna roast you in the sun. Goodbye. But I did think it was cool how he got chopped up. because I didn't see Monty Python until The Service. So years after that.
Yeah, I've never seen Dracula die that way. I've never seen anyone die that way, getting all their arms chopped up and their leg chopped off.
That was so entertaining. Like, I don't know if there's other movies with really good dismemberment scenes in it, but after we shut the stream down, I went and I found it on YouTube, and there's a scene where somebody has clipped it all together, and I'm like, wow, that's great. And I watched that a couple more times, and I thought this was probably one of the better movies that you could have picked for us, because it definitely entertained the shit out of me. I am so happy to have seen this. I've never been subject to an Andy Warhol film before, and I'm looking. I now know what to look for with what he wants, but this movie probably is the only one he did where they had this level of gore in it. And what we're referencing is at the very end of this movie, 1 year before they filmed the scene of the Black Knight on the bridge for Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Carlo Rambaldi dismembers Dracula almost the same way. It's great. It's absolutely a joy to watch. There's a lot of this movie where you're rubbing your head going, what the hell am I doing here watching this? This is not fun. Dracula's a putz. His manservant is like pretty homoerotic. Like, I don't know if I want to be here, you know. But the latter half of the film, it gets pretty good, because like Dracula, like there's an old Saturday Night Live where James Woods is playing Dracula, and he's trying to find just one woman who's not on drugs, doesn't have AIDS, virgin preferably, and he bumps into all these women, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what do you do?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just a woman that I do sound check work. Sound check. Oh, what band are you with? Oh, I'm touring with the Rolling Stones. Oh," and she's like, "Yep, I actually got really lucky. Keith Richards likes me." He's like, "Fuck." Can't fight that one, you know. And then there's another girl he bumps into, and she just came out of the hospital, and she's got the bad news that she has HIV. And these Dracula's just swinging a miss, the whole skit. It's great. And I was looking for this because I wanted to run it and play it for you guys, or at least put it up in the Discord so you could see it, because it really borrowed heavily off this movie, where this poor Dracula, this poor anemic, two charisma, he doesn't have constitution, two charisma Dracula with very low hit points is suffering, and just one nibble, one morsel, one tasty drop of healthy blood, won't you give it to me? And he can't find a single woman that's untainted. It's great.
But the one scene, though, we can't get too far ahead, was the one I thought was genius idea that they came up with for it, when Renfield saw the little girl supposedly got hit by a car or out in the street, right? When he was in the pub about to get the crap beat out of him for the losing that thing and call him a cheat. And then he had that loaf of bread, and he had supposedly put it in the girl's blood when he supposedly fell, like he passed out.
Yes.
And then he gave that to Dracula, and Dracula was feeding on the bread that was soaked in her blood. And so I was like, well, he should be cured. You know, I remember saying that out loud while we were watching the movie, because he's drinking the blood of a virgin. And you say, no, he has to have a lot more. And I was like, oh, okay, well. So, I was trying to understand that. But I thought that was a really cool concept for him to feed Dracula some bread that was soaked in blood. Who would have thought of that? And I thought that was ingenious, really, for that scene.
That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Very smart.
Hey, Kronos, how you doing, sir? So talk about the. Do you want to talk about the ending now, or is it too early?
No, it's okay. I think. I mean, is there anything you want to add, Flady, before we talk about that part of it?
Trying to think. The one hang up I had that I remember as a kid was, well, the two was, I was expecting more of, I'm thinking vampire, obviously lots of naked girls. I'm thinking I'm going to get me, a Friday the 13th type movie, or maybe, like Nightmare on Elm Street 1. We're going to get some of that like hard suspense, which I thought I remember, like I said, with the accents and the older music. The one thing that always threw me off was I forget his name, but who was it? Joe. He played the worker.
Dallesandro.
Yeah.
So you have a Romanian in Italy, and the worker sounds like he's from like south of
New
Brooklyn.
York. I thought he was like from America.
Like for accents, the dad had the best. I was like, I can get some salami and cheese, and I'm sure this guy would sneak me a glass of wine, even though I didn't like wine at the time. I'm sure I could calm one out of him. And then, all the other accents were like kind of a mix, which to me as a young kid, like threw me off a lot. But his, there was no attempt at an accent. He's just like, yo. And he talked more like I did when I was a kid than.
Yeah, he was an American.
But he grew up there. Remember, he's like, well, my father worked here. I was born here. Well,
yeah, I know, but I'm saying in real life, though, he was an American.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he supposedly grew up there and he talked like he was from New York or somewhere, I thought was kind of funny. And that's what I thought it was kind of, quirky. Like I said, the whole movie had just little things in it that were, very pop culture type stuff. And he stood out. But not just because of his accent, but because he was attractive. He was always doing his hair. He had that hair cut like me. It didn't look like a haircut that you would see in the 1920s. It seemed more like a haircut you would see today. And they put gel in it and all that stuff because of the way it was cut. That's what I thought I saw. But it was a little cutie, I thought. He had a nice little butt. I saw a lot of that. But he was.
My wife came in at one of the moments when the handyman was busy with one of the sisters, and she's like, "So that's what this movie is." I'm like, "Uh-huh," and she's like, "Okay," and then she walked back to her room, kind of saddened. She's like, I guess she was expecting us to watch like, Bram Stoker's Dracula or something.
See, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting more Dracula from Dracula, but I think Lady kind of, said the same thing. He couldn't fly. He didn't turn into a bat. He didn't turn into multiple bats. He didn't shapeshift at all, and he was just constantly shaking and gagging and just, not Dracula. So. I was expecting something, but I didn't see anything from him besides him being ill. So he must have really been really ill because he couldn't do anything. Basically.
Well, Kai says, which for us gamers, actual, spot on. He was a low generation Ventru,
Yes.
100%. But I mean, what I didn't notice when I was a kid, but it hit me hard last night, was the buildings, the size, the scale of them. I'm like, that's how I've lived in a city almost my whole life. My current apartment's probably under 700 square feet. You have to Jenga everything. You want to do something, you got to move something. You had so much room. The air had to just be like free flowing and just free in those homes. Loved it. I was like, that's how we're meant to live indoors, not these small little cramped things. When I was a kid, I'm like, I would have preferred to have the girls. Nah, just give me the building. You can keep the girls now. I just want the house.
It was a beautiful, beautiful place that they filmed. I think they filmed in an actual place. I mean, it looked like it didn't look like it was a soundstage at all to me. The angles they used, the staircase was beautiful because the girls were frolicking up and down the stairs. Dracula was falling on the stairs. It was a lot of action happened in the stairway. And but it was a beautiful set. It was very wide. It looked like marble. I mean, it was just gorgeous, and the artwork and everything too was beautiful.
And I'm glad you mentioned that with the stairway, because it reminds me, like, that's why, to me, like the Monty Python with the Black Knight is great, but this is better because dismemberment travels. It's not all in the same location. The stair, like a lot of the events in the stairs and the hallways reminds me of The Princess Bride. You know, the chase scenes, and that, you know, although the one set of stairs in there threw me off. I'm like, what are they, in a lighthouse where it looks like a metal tube and you have the metal spiral staircase, but everything else is stone and fresco and plaster. I'm like, and it made me wonder, because I've always been a consumer of movies. I never cared about the behind the scenes. It wasn't my thing. I'm like, nope, I want to show up, see a product, be blown away, brainwashed, taken to another world, and be discussing it the whole ride home. I don't care. Like, I've always, with the exception of like maybe a dozen actors, been like, oh, he was the guy who played this in that, who did this. And they would be like, oh, you mean this person? Like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Because that's just how I would consume movies. You know, as I've gotten older, you know, just from osmosis, hearing you guys talk and other people, you learn more. You just retain it. But yeah, like I that hallway scene where it's dark and it's towards the end of the movie, like at least 3/4 of the way through, I thought I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, this is where I'm going to get my, you know, Friday the 13th moment. This is where we're going to get some dramatic bloodshed and some violence. And we didn't get it.
But the scene after that, when they made their way to the chapel to try to get their casket and leave, because he realized there's no virgins there. He's got to get home or whatever to die in peace or whatever. And he goes in and the dramatic organ music starts. I just started laughing. I couldn't help it. It was so funny for that scene. And then here comes the young, oh darn it, what do you call the guy that's always fighting Dracula? I kept saying it last night.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. I go, here comes Van Helsing, and he had the axe, and he starts chopping the casket, but the music's going da 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 da. You know, the organ music. It was great. I just loved that whole scene, the whole thing, the way it felt together. I just thought it was so funny. It was so entertaining. I liked it a lot. I thought that was a great scene before he got hacked up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the third act of this movie. This movie, it's not like high art. It's not even high schlock. But is it very entertaining?
Though the whole thing was very entertaining.
It is so entertaining. This movie delivers on so many levels, and for having the shoestring budget of about $75 for practical effects, this movie did so well with that $75. I am absolutely in shock about how much they were able to do, what they were able to film. I think the set was the manor where they filmed at, and it looked like the people that owned it gave permission to who is the director? He's not really important, but Andy Warhol is, and they gave permission to Warhol to film there so they could have their name in the credits. I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
I can see that happen.
Paul Morrissey.
Yes, Paul Morrissey.
Yeah,
and he wasn't really a long-time director with Andy Warhol. He was there for a few projects. I don't know if he was there towards 87, the mid 80s. I think he stopped doing a lot of stuff in the early 80s with him, and then in 87, that was when Andy Warhol died. But it was just a thing that they wanted to film in this movie, in this location, and it worked so well. And then you have Carlo Rambaldi showing them how we're going to do these dismemberment scenes, which is probably one of the best dismemberments I've ever seen, for the fact that it was a running chase going up and down, and you have the poor Dracula's bleeding everywhere, and finally he just gets his legs hacked off, and I'm like, wow, that was so good.
Yeah, it was kind of sad though at the very end when you had the woman, that the old sister, the spinster sister that spent the whole movie basically sitting and reading a book,
Mhm.
or studying or writing something, and then she sees him, drinking the blood on the floor. So she's found her man, the one that's going to live with her forever and, let her read or, be a spinster or whatever. So I figured that she had gotten bit, and I go, oh yeah, she got bit or whatever. And then all of a sudden she shows up and sees that he's getting just, chopped up. She's like, let me have him. I'll keep him. I'll take care of him. She's laying there with him before he put the handle through his chest. And then once he did it, and she's like devastated over it, she just leaps on top of him, gets the spear right through her chest too. So they're laying on top of each other, which, he didn't die alone, and neither did she. So at least they got something out of their romance.
I thought it was worthwhile.
Yeah.
I thought that ending was just fantastic. There's RPG Grandma's one of our frequent chatters, and she comes in with a lot of wisdom sometimes, and tonight she came in with one of those things like, you should watch 70s movies. The movies from the 70s were awesome. Yeah, they amazingly are. There's so many good films that are made in the 70s because they don't have a lot of budget, but they have ingenuity behind the camera work. They have a good camera director of photography. They have a good guy that knows how to do in-camera effects and how to make everything look right. I just think by the time the 60s had rolled around, we had kind of maximized the special effects we could do up until 1975 when George Lucas came around. But all of these really good directors had now started to use all the tricks that were being developed at the time. And this is a great movie to showcase that. Yeah, and no CGI RPG Grandma. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I told you when we first decided to start doing this that I really like indie movies, movies that don't have a big, giant budget behind it, because they're forced to use their imagination to come up with ways to get their story across, with hands-on techniques. And I just think that those are way better. I mean, the acting, the scenes, everything about the way they put it together shows more talent to me when it's an independent, because they have to come up with other aspects to fulfill their destiny, basically. And it shows their real true talent, comes across that way for the whole group of people that's doing it. It's not just the actors that have to be better at their job. You have to have the props, and you have to have the makeup people, the costuming. I mean, everything. Just like that movie, the one where they had the purple ninja in it, and they had long johns and they dyed them purple, right? It was genius. They did a great job at filling the gap that they had to fill on with the little bit of money they had. They came up with something that worked, and that's what I'm talking about. That type of stuff that they did in this movie with limited amount of people in it, okay, and a limited budget, and they did a great job. You could tell. And I guarantee that when Roman Polanski was in it, he didn't make any money. They probably didn't pay him one dime to be in the movie, but he wanted to do that part, and he did a great job doing it. So, I thought it was funny. It was a very good scene, and he did a great job. I thought he was a good actor. He came across as the person he was portraying, and it was entertaining to watch him. So I just like indie movies. I mean, I have enjoyed many blockbusters too. Don't get me wrong, but like, Lars and the Real Girl was a very low budget movie, and I thought it was great. I still love it. It's one of my other favorite movies. It was great because the people did great at the part they were playing and were believable characters, just like in this movie. I mean, I didn't feel like I got taken out of the movie at all for any of the parts, for the people portraying the characters, because they seemed like that's who they were supposed to be. And I liked it. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. I'm thankful that I got to watch it.
I thought it was fantastic. This is I know this. I say it's fantastic, but you're going to hear something. Keep in mind when I give a rating score, convert it for stars. Okay, I'm going to give this movie a 70 out of 100. So that's basically a 3.5 star film. I think this movie does really well with the $1,000 they had for the budget. This was fantastic. I know that sounds lame for some, and the first part of the movie is a slow burn. The second half of the movie is really good. This is kind of leading up to the Dario Argento Italian horror films of the 70s. And I think there was a real good explosion of Italian horror films that came out not too long after this. Suspiria. One of the girls in the Stefania Cassini, she's in Suspiria, which is one of my more favorite movies as far as Italian horror is concerned. I was surprised that you haven't caught that one on yet. But I also, Argento is probably one of the best directors in the game. It's just so fun to watch his stuff, and he does so many good films. I need like a whole year of October because I do want to do a whole bunch of Dario Argento with you.
Well, as like I said, we're never going to run out of movies to watch because there's so many good movies out there, and there's so many B-rated movies. There's so many indie movies. There's tons of movies from so many different genres that you could watch a movie every single day for the rest of our lives, and we wouldn't watch them all because that's impossible. But it's good. I like all types of movies. I have my favorites, but that's because I've already seen them. I might have a movie out there that I haven't seen that ends up becoming my favorite movie. You know what I mean? But I'm eager to watch them because I want to see more movies. I love it. I love learning about new things, and I love meeting new people and seeing new scenes that I haven't seen before, of places and beautiful architecture and beautiful costumes and beautiful music, because it takes all these things to make a good movie. And this movie, I would give 4 stars to it, at least out of 5, because it had almost every single thing that you have to make a good movie. It had good actors, it had a good script, it had great scenery, it had a good score. It just had, to me, it had everything it needed. And, there was a couple little things that I would say, I don't know if it was editing or, I don't know. The not enough story about why he was sick, it didn't explain enough to me about that. And, a couple of mistakes in the editing with the blood not being on the girls at all after he's supposedly halfway drained their bodies, things like that. And he's standing above them and dripping blood, but didn't get any blood on them. Little things like that. That's it, though. It wasn't anything major that took me away from the characters or out of thinking about what the next scene or what's happening. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So I'm definitely gonna, I would give it definitely an 8, an 8.5 in there out of a 10, or 4 stars out of a 5. So there you go. That's my vote for this movie.
Kronos, we haven't seen Midsummer yet. I do want to see that someday, but I want some time between now and then because I've got a lot of movies with Janet I want to watch first. The most recent horror film I would probably want to throw on the docket would be The Vivitch, because that's supposed to be a really good film, and I've heard it's really good from a lot of people, so I want to see that, but I haven't yet. We're kind of curious, Janet. What was the movie you wanted us to view for next week?
Oh, I want to watch this movie again.
1995 or 1994?
Yeah, Rob Roy.
Yes.
With Liam Neeson, Jessica Lange. I'm in the mood to watch that movie. I don't know why, but maybe it was from one of the all the swashbuckling and stuff like that I got to see in in the gamer movies that made me think about it. Plus, I like Liam Neeson. I think he's a really good actor, and I don't know.
I feel sorry for him. I actually really feel sorry for him ever since his wife has died. I don't think he's the same guy. I think he's still. I think he's going to be in mourning for that for years. I think the thing that happened to him, it's him and John Travolta both. Those two guys lost their lives.
And Pierce Bronson too.
Yeah,
Pierce Bronson lost his wife, and which is really three stars that married women that they supposedly acted like they just just loved deeply, and they all lost their wives. Just think about that. But it's good to see love stories though, because it still makes people like me feel like, well, if it happens to somebody, it can happen to me one day. So you could have a love that lasts forever. What everyone would think about wanting to have. So that's another thing I loved about this movie too. I don't know if anybody's seen it before, but I think it's a great movie, and I'm excited about watching it again.
Our chat's kind of talking about it right now. The Rob Roy that you just presented there, they're like, oh, that's a good movie.
It's got good action in it. It's a good romantic love story, with strong love between a husband and a wife and their children, and good and big versus evil, all the stuff in it. And I love the sword fighting and things like that. I love everything in this era. We've done quite a few movies, in this type, with knights and, sword fight.
What are you saying, Janet? Are you saying we watch a lot of sword and sorcery, sword and sandal movies?
Yeah, I love that. I love all of that stuff, swashbuckling and all that stuff. I just think it's great. But this is a well-made movie, I think. So I can't wait to hear what other people think about the movie.
One of these days, I actually want to see with you Cutthroat Island with Gina Davis. I heard a lot of people hated it, but I'm going to say something here. I've crushed on Gina Davis since 1986's The Fly.
So did you like that movie that she was in with Jeff Goldblum? Was Earth Girls Are Easy?
That's another good movie.
That's another good movie we can watch. It was funny. I love
a good February film.
I love that part where with downtown Judy Brown when she's singing it, because I'm a blonde, yeah. I love that whole thing. So it had some good stuff in it. That was a really funny movie, very entertaining.
I really enjoy doing this. This is like my guilty pleasure. This is my week goes downhill after Monday. I know everybody's like, Monday I hate. No. Monday I try to find some way to do the best things on Monday. When I lived in Illinois, I was making videos on Monday nights around my game table, and Flady's been going through those playlists of me and my friends playing games together. And now on Mondays, I gather my friends and we watch movies the night before, and then we talk about them with one of the best in the business, in my opinion. Janet, you're really very knowledgeable. You're very emotionally intelligent. You've got a very balanced mindset. It's wonderful to be able to have a conversation with you, and it's just having you on this to talk about movies and games and everything else, politics. From my perspective, it's a blessing. I'm enjoying this very much.
I look forward to it every week. I love it. When I know I'm not going to get to do it, it's kind of like really depressing, but I love doing it. I told you at the beginning, I love talking. I love movies. I love dressing up, doing cosplay. I love all of it. So it's like you're stuck with me for as long as you have me, because I look forward to it.
One of our friends didn't have to do this. Very good token, a token of goodwill.
Cutthroat Island is a must.
Okay, hold on. let me key that up there.
He's gonna type it in, I think.
Yep. I really like Gina Davis. I know that sounds lame for some people. I think she's a very underrated actress.
Yeah, she was great in Thelma and Louise. I loved that movie. That was another one that I really liked. And I wasn't even going to watch it. My mother's like, you got to see this movie. It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Davis
And I was like,
Louise?
So
Gina
yeah,
Davis
I watched it and I liked it.
Wait, Gina Davis is in Thelma and Louise?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Look it
No,
up real quick. You got a computer there, don't you?
Yep, I'm keying it in.
I thought it was her. And they drive off a cliff.
Written by, oh my God, it is Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. I did not realize Gina Davis was Thelma in that movie.
And she was good. They were both good.
I didn't even recognize her. I know that sounds crazy, but
You don't recognize the hot guy that was in the beginning of the movie?
I knew about that because my girlfriend kept talking about that, and that was the only way I scored those.
What was so funny is I was really surprised when I saw him in that movie with them in that one scene with the blow dryer and everything. And I was like, he's not bad looking for a blonde, because I never really was into blonde guys. I always liked, guys with dark hair or whatever. And I was like, he is not bad looking. So that was a pretty good scene. Yeah, that's another movie we can watch. See? And that's a girl power, and it was still good. But not in a bad way. It wasn't like feminism or anything, I didn't think. But it was good to have. See, that's what I'm saying. There were so many good movies that had women leads in it that were good, but they weren't woke, and they keep saying, there's no good movies with women. We need more women in movies, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there's tons of them. Just like there's tons of women that have powers and kick ass in comic books. For them to say that there aren't any women in comic books and have to put women in the parts that guys are already in. I just can't stand any of that shit. It pisses me off. So what happened to Bruce?
Hey, I'll be back. I'm just keying some things in.
Okay.
Next week is Rob Roy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after that, we're doing Cutthroat Island with the Crafting Gamer.
Okay, great.
Looking forward to
That'll
this.
be fun.
I'm looking forward to this because I've been wanting to watch Cutthroat Island. I like pirate movies.
Yeah, there's so many good movies, though. There's so many movies. We got so many movies to watch. So it's going to be fun.
Thank you, the Crafting Gamer. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
R.I.P.D. Oh, man. It's a good movie. Beetlejuice.
Yeah, see, that's another good one. And Gina Davis is in that one.
Yep.
My favorite Brad Pitt role?
Mm-mm.
It's from True Romance when he was playing Stoner on the couch.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites though is the Fight Club.
Yes.
That was a really good movie.
Yeah. Secondhand Lions is a fantastic film.
Oh yes, they were so cute.
RPG Grandma, I do want to say just as a warning, last week when we watched The Explorers together, I didn't realize how Janet's maternal instincts are when she sees adorable young men, like little boys, like that are going through they're right before the growth spurt when everything's clear on the face and they look pretty much presentable, like Ethan Hawke did in Explorers, River Phoenix did.
They were adorable.
Janet started cooing when we're watching the movie, and I'm like, oh my God, she's going to explode. It's great.
Oh, they were so cute. I just love children. I think children are just, it's just sweet to see good little actors and actresses. And just you know, and my heart melted when I saw the little boy in that movie with Bruce Willis, and he saw dead people.
Oh, The Sixth Sense.
And how sad that little boy was, and how scared he was all the time. I just bawled and cried for him. I just felt so bad for him. I just wanted to reach in there and just grab him and, you know, hug him and protect him from the ghosts. It was just heartbreaking to watch that. I'm just like that. I can't help it.
Wasn't that the same kid that was in AI?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in a lot of movies. He was in The Boys. I think it was season 2 in The Boys.
I
So
thought it was season 1.
maybe it was. I don't remember for sure. It was towards the end. And I can't remember what his power was, but I just remember seeing him going, wow, he looks the same as a grown up.
Boys. I saw the first season, and the first season for me kind of put a button on it. I don't need to see the rest of it. It looks really good. It might be really good, but the way they ended the first season, I don't want to go past that. Kind of like I stopped watching Marvel movies at Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have no interest in anything Marvel's doing. I might see the new Deadpool. That's a maybe.
Oh, I'm definitely going to see that.
I've just been. I don't want to give him money. I've been just so
It's a
disappointed.
different category. Ryan Reynolds.
No, I love him. I ever since Waiting, I've been sold on him as an actor since Waiting. I fell in love with that movie. It's absolutely insane and hilarious if you haven't seen it. But no, he's got chops. I mean, he has a stick. He's kind of like, you know, he's got a style like a Christopher Walken. You know, he's always going to play him as somebody else. You know what I mean? Because he's developed a style, which I have no problem with, and he does it well. But yeah, I just don't give them money.
One movie that I would really like to watch again, and I'd like to see all you guys have to sit and watch it. I wish I could just sit and say, hey, I want you guys to review this movie for me, would be Magic Mike.
Never saw it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It had really good scenery in it. But the one guy that played the werewolf from True Blood, he plays the fireman stripper in that. Now that's the reason why I wanted to see the movie, is he was in it. But see, it was a good movie though. I thought it was great, very entertaining. But oh well.
I really like the first Magic Mike movie, and
Yeah,
there's a reason,
I didn't like the second one.
the reason why I like Magic Mike Part 1 is because you have a bunch of guys that you could say they could be military, or they could be just doing anything else, but they're all together, and they're with each other, and they're enjoying each other's company, but they don't need to be there together. They're only doing this because each of them has a goal where they amass this lump sum of money, and then they wander off and disappear from stage. They don't really care about all the fact that the women will give them all the love and attention they ever could want. They don't care about the fact that they make thousands of dollars every week grinding on some drunken strumpet or some gay dude that is paying them good money for it. Yeah. All they are in this for is they see this goal, and they're going to grab it, take it, retire, and go become a greeter at Walmart if they need any more money. They're done.
Yeah.
I love it.
But see, the Full Monty, I thought it was a better movie than Magic Mike. And it had regular guys in it. And I thought it was a great movie.
What movie?
Full Monty.
That is a good movie.
Yeah, I see. But to me, if I had to choose one or the other, I would pick the Full Monty over Magic Mike. Just because I thought they were more realistic. The men in it were more realistic than perfection type. I just watched that just to see the dancing and stuff, you know, and the hot guys. I wasn't even caring if it had a plot or anything. So see, women do the same thing as men do.
Yes.
You go see a movie just because the guy's a hot babes in it, and they're going to show boobs. That's all you're looking for. So Magic Mike is the same thing for women. We're just going to see it because we want to see the hot guys, strutting their stuff.
Every time I hear that Magic Mike, all I think of is the old DJ from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, but see,
tons of those mixtapes.
The Full Monty is a movie you're going to go see because you get to hear the stories that go along with the normal guys.
Was that done in the late 80s?
I don't remember when it came out, but it was really good.
I'm pretty sure I saw it.
It was good.
It's a movie with, I'll pull it up here, Robert Carlyle, Tom Wilkinson, Mark Addy, William Snape.
Weren't they all British?
They're all
British, right? Yeah.
Leslie Sharp's in it. Emily Wolf's in it. Bruce Jones is Reg. This is a decaying steel mill town in northern England. Friends Gaz and Dave are both now unemployed and on the dole after the closure of most of town's steel mills. They steal scrap metal from the closed mills to supplement their meager income. With Gaz's 12-year-old son Nathan on the days Gaz has custody. Still, Gaz is behind in child support payments to his ex-wife Mandy, and Mandy threatens to sue for full custody, and that Gaz can't support Nathan in any way. Gaz, seeing the long lineup of women clamoring in to get a touring Chippendale-style dance troupe, he can solve his financial and thus custody problems by forming his own exotic male dance troupe with some of his fellow underemployed ex-steel mill workers. In addition to Dave, he has in mind middle-aged Gerald, their former foreman, who's told them his spinning happy wife Linda he's been unemployed for 6 months, and Lumper, mild-mannered security guard who they just met in the act of him trying to commit suicide in his depression. Now, the problem is that with the exception of Gerald, who knows how to ballroom dance, they're not stripper material in looks, skill, temperament. A little bit overweight Dave with body image issues, leaving his wife Jean's having a wandering eye because of what he considers his unappealing looks. An open casting among those at the unemployment office, they are able to recruit further misfits. Horst, an older man that doesn't know contemporary dance of his era, and younger guy who cannot dance but sing, and he loves singing in the rain and has a natural gift below the belt. Beyond the many obstacles in being able to put together a dance strip act that women would pay to see, they have to overcome their own individual issues. Gaz's, which includes Nathan, his son, who loves his dad, but he just wants to do normal father-son activities. Looks like a good movie.
It is. It's great. The good, very, very well made, very good acting, story arcs, everything. It's an awesome movie.
RPG Grandma's like, we need eye candy too.
Yeah, see, real women don't mind looking. We like the view.
I do got to say, the moment when Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze hugged, I shed a tear. That was great. I was crying so hard, I cried.
That was such a good show. It was excellent. Patrick Swayze was a great person and a great actor.
He had the mullet of mullets.
Yeah, he could grow it all.
I really liked him, and you're gonna kick me in the ding ding, guys, but I like the movie Roadhouse quite a bit because the movie Roadhouse is entertaining. And if you don't like the movie Roadhouse, you can just find the Riff Tracks version of it, and you can listen to the slide comedy from the three guys in the back. And that movie is worth gold. That is a great film with a little bit of commentary. Yeah, Chris Farley. We love him, Kronos. We're going to be wrapping this up because I've said everything I like about this movie and everything I wanted to share about it. This is a fantastic film, and if you guys get a chance to see it, if you have the time for a slow burn, it's only 90 minutes. It's worth it. Please put it through the ringer and see if you enjoy it. It is 70s horror, so don't expect like lots of CGI and Rob Bottin. There is some good special effects in it, though. And the people that worked on this movie went on to bigger and better things as their careers continued. Carlo Rambaldi, the special effects guy, not only did King Kong in 1976, but He also did a movie in 1984 called E.T. or Dilo de Laurentiis, and that is a quite high point of his life, if I remember right. Meme reviews we do every 2 weeks. I don't want to do them. There's not enough memes in the memes channel. They're soy-based, Jeremy. I would love to, but we just did one Saturday night, and it's only Monday. What does baby look like? Hold on. Let me find out for us.
Baby from Dirty Dancing or Baby from the dinosaur movie in the 80s? Both were amazing.
I'm going to go with Jennifer Grey. More than likely, she is a train wreck because she was hot and 20-something in the 80s. And for some odd reason, if you're in the Tinseltown, you have this dumb idea that you've got to get your entire body worked on. And you have to do terrible things.
The only thing I think she did so far really is her nose. That was it.
I loved her nose. Her and Malin Balick, the girl who played Blossom, I crushed on those girls because they were imperfect. Now, here she is, Jennifer Grey, and she still looks fairly attractive. She's not giving us any side profile.
She still looks like herself.
Those are better pictures. That first one, I'm like, is that jaundice? But it must have just been a filter on the camera.
No, she's just she's still beautiful.
She was. I thought she was 80s perfect. I really did.
I think she's still a beautiful woman. Very beautiful.
I'm very surprised she doesn't look like the cat lady out of New York. I thought that she would turn into like some plastic surgery riddled wasteland.
No, maybe she had a deviated septum or something, and she decided to go ahead and get her nose done when she had that surgery. So I don't know, but as far as I know, that's the only thing she's done. Just like Demi Moore. I don't think Demi Moore has really had, anything really done to her either.
That's the old nose.
It's the normal stuff, skin care.
I wish she would tilt her head a different direction. Like, we don't have to see you dead on. We can see you like at an angle. Yes, we know you have a big nose. I like the big nose. Sorry, hon.
I doubt her nose is as big as mine.
Yeah. Any further questions? Hey, fun fact, she's married to Clark Gregg, Phil Coulson from the MCU movies. I had heard that. And from what I understand, they have a really normal life together.
It's like I said, they're just normal, just like everybody else. Well, except for the stuck-up ones that are, that they flaunt everything. But there's most of them they just go home, put their feet up, and eat, watch television, and go out hiking, and do the same stuff we do. So
yeah, she got her nose done, and I've heard that she regrets it. I'm happy that she feels that way. Ages Musings, one of our good friends, he just hit 1,000. I think he's at 1,200 subscribers. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, if you like fantasy RPGs, and I'm going to stop using the D&D because it's no longer D&D.
Yep.
We're going to talk about something, guys, and we're going to talk about something pretty scary here. Janet doesn't know about this, but there is a game coming out called Baldur's Gate 3. And the first two that came out back in the late 90s, early 2000s were a lot of fun to play. It's about 120 hours of gameplay if you have the time for it. Lots of fun. They just released we're not going to show anything from this. The people that make this game, they have just released the movie where they were advocating, and the people that are talking highly about this, I don't agree with. But Baldur's Gate 3 is being advertised. It's a game that has blood sacrifices, lots of murder, and you get to fuck a bear.
Super Troopers.
I wish I was making this up. Because WotC, Wizards of the Coast, and the degenerate media are so hell-bent on forcing this out there and saying this is normal. I feel so sorry for the poor CGI animated squirrel in the cut scene. The squirrel's watching this and he just drops his nut. He can't believe he's watching a bear and a twink do this.
Mm-hmm.
This movie or this game
Is it a video game or is it a game like what we play?
No, it's a video game that people install on their computers or consoles, and they're trying to say this is normal. This is what they want. I think they're going a little bit too far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see this in the game.
I think that's what they're wanting to do. So they're wanting to pervert it. I mean, they've done the movies. They're doing, music. Everything is becoming a perversion, and they're doing it on purpose so that people will shun it. You know what I mean? Like turn away from it.
Yeah, they're
ruining it on purpose. Mm-hmm.
You not only get to change every aspect of your character's face and your body build, if you so choose, but you also get to shape your identifying member or clan. And I wish I was making this up, but this is not.
Why? I mean, what reason would you need to do that for a game? You actually pull it out and use it in the game?
I don't understand why they're doing this. Like they're actually showing, there's a part where when you're with the bear or with one of the other romance quests, you actually get to see your handiwork being used. And I'm just sorry, like anybody I know that's buying this game, if you could just like unfriend me now, that'd be great. Just don't talk to me about it.
I won't be buying it, but no. I feel sorry for people who are buying it for their kids and not knowing what's in it.
I don't know. The last 2 days, since Saturday night when we played our game, one of my friends, Eric Tenkar, he put a video out alarming me to this. And I watched it after I disconnected from everything else, and I was getting ready for bed. And I stayed up for another hour complaining to my wife, like, they're ruining our game. And she's like, no, it's not your game. D&D is not your game. You don't even play Pathfinder right, Bruce. Come on. Your game is this hobby that you love that has 50,000 different game engines that are all patterned off of one game engine and multiple editions. You have a bunch of different options for your games. You never focus your players into their sexual escapades. You always try to foster an environment where your players work together and they beat things together. A big company that's doing this, be it the media degenerates or WotC or the game developers themselves, which think there's not enough bestiality in video games nowadays, I don't know. These people don't have any sway over what happens at my table. It's the exact same reason why I always tell people when you go to buy your RPGs, go to Big Geek Emporium if you can. If they're selling it there, go help out Randy and Joe. Granted, Randy and Joe make like 1% of what you spend. That's it. The rest of it goes to the creator. He's the one that put in the hard work, or she is the one that put in the hard work for it. But I just don't see that this is, another reason as to why I don't refer to my game as Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, hold that up again, please, Flady. We're gonna get the big screen up for it. This is a game that David Guile wrote called Dungeons and Delvers. Is it got any options like what we discussed? No. But does it offer you the freedom to put in your game and your table what you want? Yeah. If you want to have a degenerate game, you could run it with that system or any other system. I don't see any of my friends doing that. All of my friends run pretty normal games where they encounter orcs or invaders and kill them, take a treasure, get the experience, and move on. That's how games should be. Dungeons and Delvers is just the cream of the crop. That's probably one of the best new games to come out in years, and the way that it differentiates itself from the other D&D clones is really nice. I tell people about it every chance I get because I think it's a great game, and it pulls itself away from Tolkien enough to where you're not feeling like we're in Tolkien clone land number 173. It's really good. So I hope if David Guile is watching this, like, we talk nicely about your product and we tell people about your product because I believe your product is one of the better ones out there. If anybody's going to buy something, if you're going to spend $50 on a hardcover book, that's a great hardcover book. Good art, good font, easy to read, easy to understand. And David and Melissa are very accessible. You can talk to them about their game anytime you want to. They love that. Sorry, had to rant.
It was needed.
Good. It's nice when you have passion for something because it means you care about it.
Well, Wizards of the Coast has no power over me in my game. Yeah, this guy gets it. Mages, let me pull Mages Musings YouTube channel up because some of you may not be subscribed to this guy, and you might not catch all of his live stream work. But I'm going to tell you that he's very fun to watch. You'll wish you had met him before now. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Give this nice gentleman a like and subscribe. He is pretty much right where I'm at on subscriber count, but this guy deserves it. He deserves your work. He's not out there to turn this into a multi-million-dollar business. If he does that in the interim, congrats to him. But he talks about old school games, and if you go to his YouTube page, you'll see that he loves the old stuff because it's easy to comprehend. There's not a lot of rules out there. And as a dungeon master, you can make more rulings for your games, and your players will probably appreciate that a lot more too. Janet, is there anything else you would like to declare before we start wrapping this up?
No, I had a great time, and thank you, Flady, for asking us to watch it because I never would have ever seen it. I know I wouldn't have. And I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for taking the suggestion and inviting me on, both last night and this evening. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad you got to join us. Yes,
like I said, I had a blast the first time, even though I couldn't figure out how to get my camera to work. This is fun. It's entertaining. You get to share stuff with people, you got this little community here that people have been sharing stuff back and forth through the chats and the Discord and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And we ran on the insanity of the planet, but we also throw that aside and get into just enjoying life, sharing our interests. I'm sure I've seen people discuss family stuff and whatnot. It's healthy, and it's needed, and it's just for me it's a blast.
It's fun. I love doing this. This is great.
From everybody here, Mage's Museum says, I saw you're doing Rob Roy next week. Have set a reminder to try to be here from the beginning. Rob Roy is one of my top 5 favorite films. Excellent.
Great.
Mage's Museum, that's awesome.
It's a good movie.
Please come. Thank you, Six Nations, 31 Kings. And I'd like to say, everybody, I appreciate you. This is a great endeavor. You're keeping me mentally healthy. I appreciate what you guys do for me. I hope that I contribute in some positive way towards you. I thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night all.
Boys and girls all over the world are being abused and tortured.
The worst moments of these children's lives, they're being videotaped and they're being shared with other offenders all over the world.
Many people would refer to this as CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
They are suffering and they don't think that anyone is coming to help them. But we can. We can build that army and we can go get them.
Come be a part of this team that is trying to push back this evil.